Yes, I am angry because of something that happened in England just a couple of days ago. Armed police threatened to arrest a Kent protester for simply holding a Palestinian flag. It's quite an extraordinary story. And yes, we should all be very angry at this. And the Guardian newspaper, to its credit, reported this today. And I want to share with you what they say, and also actual footage of the threatened arrest, because she filmed it amazingly. Armed police, says The Guardian, threatened to arrest Kent protester for holding Palestinian flag. Officers accused Laura Merton, who also had a sign saying "Free Gaza," of supporting a proscribed organization. Now, this is an organization called Palestine Action, which was designated by the government to be a terrorist organization, bizarrely, a couple of weeks ago. And she wasn't supporting them at all. She never mentioned them. There was no indication she in any way supported them, and she denied supporting them. She actually recorded the whole incident, and we're going to look at this in a sec. So this is a picture of her. Officers told Laura Merton she was expressing a belief supportive of Palestine Action, despite her telling them she did not support any proscribed organizations. Armed police threatened a peaceful protester with arrest under the Terrorism Act. Now, she really was a peaceful protester. You could actually watch it. She was not in any way provocative. She certainly wasn't supporting terrorism. She was merely protesting about genocide. So they threatened her with arrest for holding a Palestinian flag and having signs saying "Free Gaza" and "Israel is committing genocide," accusing her of supporting a terrorist organization. Officers told Laura that her demonstration in Canterbury, in Kent, in England, on Monday this week, expressed views supportive of Palestine Action, which was banned under terrorism legislation earlier this month. Merton said neither of her signs mentioned Palestine Action, which is the case. You can see it yourself in a sec. When asked directly whether she supported any proscribed organization, she replied, "I do not." So what is the problem? Well, let's see what the police say.
What's your intention here tonight? My intention is to wave this flag and keep Palestine in the public consciousness right now.
So do you support any prescribed group?
I do not support any prescribed group.
Okay.
So she's very clear. She's not supporting Palestine Action. She's not supporting any prescribed group. She's not supporting any so-called terrorist group. She's very clear. And I admire her, by the way, throughout this entire encounter, which on this video she recorded 4 minutes long. She keeps her cool. She doesn't get heated or overreact. I must admire her patience and her self-control in the face of what is authoritarian or totalitarian persecution of someone who is exercising their basic human rights to protest against a crime against humanity, a genocide happening in Gaza.
Support a free Palestine and the end of genocide.
Okay. Can I get your details?
Am I required to give them to you?
Well, you may be committing an offence at the moment, so I just need to make sure that you're legit.
What offence?
Well, as you're aware, it's not an offence to obviously support a prescribed group.
Yeah, but I don't have anything on which says that.
Appreciate that, but the way that you're behaving at the moment would lead me to believe that you may be.
So the way the policeman says, the way you're behaving at the moment by simply having a Palestinian flag and saying "Free Gaza" means that she's a potential terrorist. Unbelievable. Absolutely extraordinary.
Give me suspicion.
What?
Grounds to believe you could think.
What suspicion? That I've got a sign that says "Free Gaza," I'm holding a Palestinian flag, and I have a sign that says Israel is committing genocide. Something which is, by the way...
You're also distracting the traffic, which may cause an accident. That's also another offence.
By the way, the claim that Israel is committing genocide is supported by the vast majority of experts on genocide studies, leading professors. Some of the leading experts in the world have come out and said that Israel is committing genocide in their expert opinion. Amnesty International has said that accused Israel of committing genocide. But what's interesting is, I mean, look at this makeshift little poster here and the flag. And now the police are saying, well, we're doing it because you're disturbing the traffic. You're distracting the traffic. That's a very interesting excuse.
Offence you're committing?
Right, okay.
So I've got a reason to take your name.
Do I
You're
have to
actually
do that?
potentially committing a public order offence.
What do you mean potentially? I don't understand. I mean, if either not am or not, right?
Go about this two ways.
I love the way she's keeping her cool, and yet she's legitimately questioning exactly what the police mean. Potentially, you're causing an offence. What do you mean potentially? She says either I am or I'm not. And I think that's a very intelligent. Again, she's not, I don't think, being provocative. She's not being difficult. She's simply asking clarification about this accusation that she is somehow potentially committing an offence.
Right. My colleagues explained that the support of this, mentioning freedom of Gaza, Israel, genocide, all of that,
Yeah.
will come under prescribed groups, which are terror groups that have been dictated by the government, all right, which we have suspicion to suggest that you're supporting, based on your actions here in a city with the flags and the posters you've got
Right.
up, right? To deal with this the best way possible for everyone is to take your details and have you on your way, right? If you don't provide us with your name and address, those are necessities for us to arrest you for offences against the terrorism act for being part of the prescribed group. So if we can take your name and your address.
So they want her name and address, and her activities suggest she is a member of a terrorist organization simply by virtue of expressing public support for the Palestinians and criticizing the genocide. That alone means you're a terrorist. And this is why I'm angry. This is outrageous, outrageous. Half the population of Britain support the Palestinians. Many MPs support the Palestinians. According to this logic, they're all terrorists. You can't lock up half the population of the UK. The most of the planet think what is happening in Gaza is a genocide. I mean, literally, most of the population of the world believe this, according to reports.
And then you can be on your way. We can leave it as that. And if you go about something a different day, it'll be dealt with a different day. But for today now, on this busy roundabout rush hour where we don't want an accident to happen, that's how we want to deal with it. It's take the details and leave. Failing.
So I like how the police are now framing this as a safety for her sake and for the driver's sake, because hey, the drivers may get distracted. There may be accidents. And what happens is, you'll see it in a sec. She says, okay, well, what happens if I go into the town centre, not on a road, and continue exactly the same protest there? So there'd be no public safety issue at all there. What would happen to me then? And the policeman said, "You still be arrested. You're still committing an offence." So that this issue of the public safety thing is not the issue, really.
That you may render yourself liable to arrest in order for us to deal with it. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
That makes sense. That's how we want to deal with this.
Okay.
Because we want to keep traffic going and not have to leave you in a cell. If we can take your details, someone will be in touch and they'll deal with it another way. Are you happy to give us your details and then be on your way so that we can deal with it?
So it's not just a question of giving her details, her name and address, but also she will be dealt with in another way. So there's a kind of a sinister threat there, simply by supporting the Palestinians, having a Palestinian flag and calling for free Gaza. You know, she will still be dealt with in an undisclosed, undefined way. So this is, you know,
On the basis of that,
Yeah.
then I will give you the details.
Because you slowed the traffic down.
I'm interested. She will give a detail. I must say, I do admire her cool amongst all of this. I saw many people, maybe myself included, were not quite so happy, quite so cooperative. I mean, what she's doing is legally correct, of course. But, you know, she's very cool and in control. And I do credit her with that.
Distracting drivers.
Right.
Do this in the city centre.
But if I do this in the city centre,
Here we go.
are you guys going to come back and tell me that I'm now potentially committing a terrorist offence because I have the flag of another country and I'm pointing out?
Again, having a flag in another country, you can have a Greek flag and it just be a flag. So
Right.
you don't just have a flag.
No, I don't. I have free Gaza
We also have to think
and a
about
state of the flag.
we also have to think about your safety.
In the middle of the day, plenty of people have been very supportive.
So the word about her safety now. This is all about her safety, really. She's a woman in the middle of Kent in broad daylight in public. Why are they worried about her? What safety threat to her safety? She's fine. Why are two armed policemen talking to her about her safety in this manner when there's no clear threat? But anyway, she's mentioned the point about, well, I'll relocate then to the town centre. Okay, you know, public space, no problem. What's the police response? Very interesting.
Plenty of people that don't agree with your cause.
And there are plenty of people which do.
I'm sure there is, but there isn't. You come across that person,
Yeah.
who's going to take exception to it.
So I'll tell you the offences.
that we've been asked to do like this. So you've got to belong or profess to belong to a prescribed organisation.
Which I have not.
So Palestine Action, and you haven't, all right?
And you can't prove that I do belong.
Support for a prescribed organisation, you haven't.
No.
Express an opinion or belief that is supportive of a prescribed organisation. Now that you have done.
But that's ridiculous. You could end up arresting half the country
I didn't
for
make
that.
the legislation. That is the legislation.
Right.
So no, merely by supporting the Palestinians publicly, you're now committing a terrorist offence, according to the Kent police. And they have issued a public statement, by the way, after this event, we'll come to this in a sec, supporting the policeman's actions, saying it was potentially a terrorist attack, terrorist offence.
So that's extremely broad.
Details,
right.
And that's why if we take your details and we tell you to leave, we'll tell you not to carry on this down the high street. The high street's a better place because it's not a road. We're going to tell you not to take your details and be on our way. If you're found down the high street later on, you'll probably find yourself arrestable for that offence.
Right. So, in fact, if he went down the high street where there is no public order issue and she's not going to be attacked or something, it would still be an arrestable offence.
Because you've been warned not to.
So I can never do this again in Canterbury, in Kent.
It's an offence.
It's an offence. Okay. Yeah. So that is very, very shocking, obviously. This makes me very angry. It will make many, many, many people very angry indeed. This is clearly unacceptable for the police to threaten to arrest someone simply for expressing support for a persecuted group in the Middle East. I mean, what has this got to do with anything? This is a very noble sentiment. So it's very shocking. Let's look at the rest of the article because there's more information there, I think. So let's just exit this full screen. In the encounter which she filmed, one officer told her, mentioning freedom of Gaza, Israel, genocide, all of that come under proscribed groups, which are terror groups that have been dictated by the government. I'm not sure this is at all accurate, by the way, but the fact that police are saying any support for people in the Middle East who have been persecuted automatically is support for terrorism is very, very, very alarming indeed. And I hope this is dealt with by the government and a reassurance is given that this is not terrorism. He went on to say that the phrase Free Gaza is supportive of Palestine Action. She never mentioned Palestine Action. There are many, many groups other than Palestine Action, legal groups that support Free Gaza. Many individuals as well, adding that it was an offence to express an opinion or belief that is supportive of a prescribed organisation. And she's committed an offence. Well, she hasn't mentioned this organisation. And she was forced to provide her name and address, which obviously she reluctantly did. Speaking to The Guardian, Merton said, I don't see how anything I was wearing, how anything I was displaying, anything I was saying could be deemed as supportive of the prescribed group. It's terrifying. I was standing there thinking, this is the most authoritarian, dystopian experience I've had in this country. Being told that I'm committing a terrorist offence by two guys with firearms. I ended up giving my details, and I really resent the fact that I had to do that because I don't think that was lawful at all. And then there's a bit here about the ban on Palestine Action, which is a direct action protest group, came into force on the 5th of July here in the UK. Now, I can't comment on that because I don't want to get in trouble myself. But it's interesting, in written submissions, two barristers says banning or prescribing Palestine Action is highly likely to have a wide chilling effect on speech and assembly of those seeking to speak out against Israel's serious violations of international law in the occupied Palestinian territory, including Gaza. This has turned out to be very, very true. During an unsuccessful attempt to appeal against the decision, the barrister told the Court of Appeal a vast number of individuals who wished to continue protesting would fall foul of the prescription regime due to its lack of clarity. Yeah, so it's vague and so can be, and arguably deliberately so, to catch many other protesters. One of the officers told her they were trying to be fair, adding, we could have jumped out, arrested you and dragged you off in a van. What a threat. What a threat. Explaining her motivation, Merton said, day to day, people are getting killed and I can't handle that. I can't handle sitting and doing nothing, just showing up during rush hour to remind people that Palestine exists and that genocide is happening, and tried to keep it in the public consciousness. It wasn't motivated by anything other than that. Amnesty International say the footage is very concerning. They state, we have long criticized UK terrorism law for being excessively broad and vaguely worded and a threat to freedom of expression. Now, this issue of the vague wording and the kind of broad language used is absolutely deliberate. So it catches many, many more people than just the so-called terrorist organization concerned. This video, they say, documents one aspect of exactly the kind of thing we are warning about. Now, this is the police's response to this media reaction. A Kent police spokesman said, under the Terrorism Act, it is a criminal offence to carry or display items that may arouse reasonable suspicion that an individual is a member of or supporter of a prescribed organisation, such as Palestine Action. So what are the indications that she is a supporter of a terrorist group? Merely calling Free Palestine, merely wearing a scarf, in supporting the Palestinians themselves. Doesn't mention anything else.